Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your East Oakland advocate. Well, today I'm going to talk about some more about uh, energy independence. As you see behind me, I have 400 watts of solar panels pointed at the sun to create up to nearly 1,200 watts of electricity in the day. And what I do with that, I watch TV during the day. My Wi-Fi is on during the day. I'm able to use my microwave oven. Uh, I'm able to wash. So there's a lot of things that I can do with these solar panels. And uh, way back in 2018, March 18th of 2018, when I gained the only city sanctioning for this camp. It was Rangers Community, uh, and I got that by outwitting uh, Mayor Libby Shaft and the leadership of Oakland at that time. I had anticipated everything that they were going to do because based upon the history of what they've done to encampments in the past. But what was different was that this particular site I had already investigated. And I'm going to turn this around. You see the dead end behind me right there? Well, this street was actually put up for sale in 1963 by the city of Oakland as excess property. And the reason why they put it up for sale and they closed this, essentially sold the street, was because BART, you see the BART tracks right there. That became the right of way for Bay Area rapid transit. And so that street was closed off. It used to go all the way through, but it stopped in 1963 when the street was officially closed. And then the property owner, I'm going to turn this around, the property owner way back here at 800 77th Avenue, he bought the property lock, stock, and barrel. And so what was expected was that this street would probably be completely closed off and become part of his warehousing, because down here on this side, it was RA Trucking. And then on the opposite side uh, of the street, he had a recycling company in there at that time making good money. And so they wanted to expand, and that was one way to expand the yard, since the street no longer came through. So anyway, that's the story behind 77th Avenue. I brought that up to the City of Oakland. They had their legal team look at that and say, well, you know what, he's right. And so that's how I got city sanctioning. I outwitted them, made them aware of something that they didn't know, and it was factual. So after that, after I got the city sanctioning, what I ended up asking for was electrical connection. And in the thumbnail, in the opening, you saw that porta potty with the service box. Well, National provides those to contractors all over the nation. And I have a contractor's license at that time, an active federal contractor's license. I submitted the paperwork to the building department. Building department didn't really have too much of an issue with it, but because there was no work site, so to speak, they had to run it by Libby Shaft. And then when it got to Libby's office, they killed that. And then what Libby Shaft did, she sent her crony, who was in charge of the homeless services at the time, named Joe DeVries. Joe DeVries came down here to bullshit with me, literally bullshit, because all he did was come down here and lie in my face. And I'll say that to his face to this very day, because that's what he did. He did lie to me. He said that, oh yeah, we've already tried out solar panels and solar stuff at another camp, and it didn't work out. And I said, well, what camp? because number one, if I didn't know about it, my mentor, Mike Lee, knew about it. And so we knew there was no camp in the city of Oakland or neighboring city that had solar electricity, because solar parts are very expensive back then. I mean, they were very expensive, not like today. A typical solar panel would be about $130 to $150 back way back in 2018. So they weren't cheap, and they were much more difficult to get. But anyway, uh, Joe DeVries, was telling me, yeah, we tried it, didn't work out too well. So we don't want you to waste your money on that. I said, I'm not wasting my money. I know what the fuck I'm doing, because I worked on satellite solar systems as part of my career. And then he just gives me a really stupid look. Said, uh-oh, here's somebody who knows something. And I told him, I said, what was the layout? What components? Do you know what they used? And all I got from Joe DeVries was crickets. But the reason why electricity is so important to the settlements and to all of the encampments is that refrigeration to store food, the ability to store food so that people don't get sick, food poisoning from the food that they have. And so refrigeration was one of the things that I argued as to the reason why I wanted this particular porta potty service panel. And I would pay for the electricity. I would pay the rental on the porta potty and service box. And so everything would have been covered and wasn't an issue. But then city leaders said no. And that's the problem that the city of Oakland and Alameda County has. We have a bunch of supervisors and stupid administrators that do not want a permanent long-term settlement of any form in the city of Oakland. They only will entertain 2-year programs, up to 2-year programs, and that's it. And so we have to get rid of all of those that are against these permanent settlements, these long-term settlements, because there are some incredible ways that we can save money. The city actually has the money for most of these projects to put up these barn dominiums that I've been talking about, and also keeping it in an affordable range. Then the affordable range is 100% off-grid solar electricity. And so that's what I'm doing right here, right now, what you're also helping me to create. And with that electricity, I'm able to keep food cold. I can make my own ice. I don't have to spend $8 a day buying 2 sacks of ice to keep things cold, and it just melts away. And by tomorrow, I would have to buy 2 more sacks. That's the sad part. With a refrigerator freezer, I don't have that problem anymore. I make my own ice, and I have plenty of water. And then the other thing, for when I was manager of the Rangers community here, we needed the refrigerator for medical supplies, such as insulin, because for a while we would have 3-4 calls to 911 because people not having their insulin and going into insulin shock. And so that was my argument for that. And again, city supervisors and leaders turned down electricity and said, no, we're not going to give you electricity, and you're going to have to figure it out on your own. And so they didn't care about people having all these medical emergencies, and then each one of those 911 calls that that the fire department and the 911 had to respond to, that would cost the city $1,200 because paramedics had to come down here and give somebody an insulin shot. So anyway, that's what's going on. Reason why electricity is so important for a lot of the settlements, for the barndominiums that I'm proposing, and the barndominiums, they're all self-sufficient. Everybody has electricity, where they're able to not only have a safe place, but also these barndominium, each individual units have full kitchens, full bathrooms. Uh, they're they're tied to water. They make their own electricity with off-grid power. And the best thing of all, we can put 8 separate family units in one barndominium of 4,000 square feet. That's 8 people. We can put 8 people, 8 families in a barndominium, and we can even use each one of those barndominiums would be 2 stories. That would be the height restriction, the maximum height restriction on the community land trust limitations. So there are solutions that the city is sitting on but refuses to do anything about. And we have to now elect leaders that will move these projects forward. And that will, number one, address the homeless issue. And then number two, by getting people into real housing in real places with real supervision and or self-governance or co-governance, we can start getting hold of what's happening on our streets. Number one, the homelessness. Number two, the crime. Number three, the littering and the garbage. We can take care of 3 problems with 1 solution. And we have the money, we have the space and place to do it. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be right back.